Greetings, everybody. My name is Corbin Stacy, and welcome to Come Home with Corbin Stacy. I'm super excited to be here today. It is August 1st of 2022, and my homegirl, my yoga baby, my little intern, my little yumminess, my little nugget. I don't know if I can go on and on and on about the names I've called you over the past 4 or 5 years, but my gosh, I'm so excited to be here with the birthday girl, Miss Savannah McRae. Savannah, good morning. Thank you for being here on the last day around the earth in your 28th year. You're gonna be 29 tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, my last year. But I brought in the good vibes.
You brought in the best vibes. This will launch on Spotify podcast, Apple Podcasts, and then again on YouTube for your birthday. So happy birthday, Savannah. Yay.
I'm trying to clap into the mic.
Right,
Thank
so you can hear it.
There we go. Clap hard.
We were giving her mic 101 before this. I was like, you have to grab it, girl. You have to grab it and make sure it's yours.
No golf clap, like a
No,
clap.
like a cheerleading
Cheer
clap,
clap.
right? We can start there,
There.
right? We have so much in common. When did you start cheerleading?
Wow, I have been cheerleading my whole life. I say I have been, like I still
Like you
am,
still-
because
yeah,
you
right.
basically are.
You're
As
a
soon as you
lifetime
step
cheerleader.
onto, whether it's into the yoga space or onto a mat, you're always
You're cheering.
cheering
You're a cheerleader for
everybody
life.
on. Yeah,
You
that's what
started
being a
in high
yoga
school?
teacher is.
Did you start in high school?
I
or
actually
there
was
just
cheering since elementary school. So
Oh, wow. So you
since the
started when you
jump.
were a tiny little yogini.
Yes.
I love it. All right. So and then you went to FAU, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And you cheered there?
Yes.
Amaze
I
balls.
did my undergraduate at FAU. My degree is in biological sciences. I have a minor in psychology.
Wow.
And I cheered for 2 years at FAU. It was the most amazing time of my life.
Incredible. Wow. It
So-
flies too, right?
I know.
It really does.
I know.
I know. I'm not even going to tell you how old I'm going to be this year, but we'll get there. So I want to kind of start with like your story in general and how we met and why we're sitting here today and why it's so special to be here. Yoga Home is turning 5 this October 7th. So if you didn't know that, that's really cool. We'll have a bunch of communications coming up about that. So 5 years, we still have a 5-star rating on Google, Yelp, Facebook, all the things, all the tings. So we're really excited to turn 5. But what's cool about that is we had our grand opening. We opened our doors on October 7th, and then we had our grand opening on November 11th. So 11/11 in 2015, and then turn into the new year, and this big, beautiful ball of light, this beautiful fairy comes trotting in the front door here at home, right? It was like the end of January in 2016. It was like January 25th, I think you took your first class here. And wow, that was just a movement. You walking in the door, you came with your new boo at the time, right? Who also teaches here, Trent Peterson. You guys came in, you guys were so cute. I think you kind of had just met, right? So talk to us
Yes.
about, we don't want to like spoil the story or anything, but you guys had just met, right? Like you and Trent had just met.
We had just met, and fun fact, we actually met on Bumble. So if you ever think that online dating does not work, we met, and it was a match made in heaven. We met at a coffee shop in West Palm. It's called Subculture, and on our first date, we just knew it was like the universe collided, and
Spoke.
it was meant to be. And since then, we've been blessed, happy, everything in between. But
Did you know Trent in high school, college, anywhere in
No,
between?
he
Just
had-
Bumble. I mean, like,
totally, he had moved here about a year before that and was just, I think, trying to find himself and
cool.
coming to a new place. And we had literally just met because of Hurricane Irma. At the time, I was living in Miami, and I was professionally dancing down there for Top Gun, and I was teaching dance and basically just living out my passion that I had grown my whole life on the side. And Hurricane Irma came, so I stayed with my best friend in Palm Beach County because it was supposed to be like really bad in Miami. So of course we had to come up. It flooded really bad anyways down there, so thank God I didn't get stuck down there because it's not the best place to live. I love it definitely
Hence why
more
you're
here. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Cool.
So I had hopped on, and she's like, just do some online dating. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing online dating. This is ridiculous. And turns out it was literally just meant to be. So because of that
Absolutely.
hurricane, we met, and
Thanks, Irma.
yep, thanks, Irma. Trent would drive literally an hour to come down there and visit me, and vice versa. So after I was done with my career down there dancing, I had danced for Mark Anthony in 2017 doing
Wow.
yes, Arriba. Real Madrid versus Barcelona. So the soccer game down
Sweet.
there,
Wow.
and was dancing a little bit for Pitbull at the time. And after all of that time under the lights, it's time to kind of regroup and see what I wanted to do with my life. And so at that time I had moved back here and started to live with Trent. And during that time, actually, when I was living down there, was the first time that I had come to visit
Yoga
Yoga Home. So that's where it comes full circle.
So Trent is an athlete as well, right? So
right. He was a
talk
football
to us
player.
a little bit about that. We'll have a podcast with Trent too. We're kind of going in chronological order. If you know, we started with Stacy, then Jimmy. So you were our first intern. Kelly Brookbank's going to be next, our director of teacher training. We'll throw Marcus in there. We'll throw Marcus a bone. We'll take you down the journey of Yoga Home.
Side note: everything is Marcus's fault. If you ever didn't know, it's his fault.
We'll get there too. I love the little plugs to take us into the other podcast. But I don't want to spoil Trent's story. But tell us a little bit about him and why it makes sense that you guys are so
compatible.
Well, yeah, for sure.
He was a football player his entire life. His dad was an athletic director. He's moved around all the Midwest and has basically just lived that life of an athlete, as have I, since I cheered and danced throughout school. So just knowing the lifestyle that we both had shared, and
it was easy to
yeah, totally. I'm like, I know what the field's like. You know what the field is like.
Incredible. So did he practice yoga before? And did you have a yoga practice before? So talk to me about yoga. Obviously, we're sitting here on the third floor of Yoga Home. So
we haven't
talk
even
to me
gotten to
about
yoga yet. The whole thing.
No, I want little sound bites. So, yeah, for sure.
Totally. So Trent has been practicing yoga for, a long time, probably 10 plus years. He's had a really strong practice. And I had done a little bit of yoga. I took a couple of classes at FAU. So we had some classes that we could hop into at the gym. And I had done a little bit of a LA fitness practice. So I think everybody can relate to that.
You've got to start somewhere.
When you first started and you're like, what is this? And then it clicked. As soon as I stepped onto a mat, I was like, this is the same as dance, as cheer, as all of these other movement medicines that I've had my whole life. But it felt like it went from being on a mat to being on a mat in a whole new way, less competitive and more, wow, I can do this just because I love it, not because there's anything that comes after it.
Absolutely. They say it's never a competition. It's just a practice. So did you take your first yoga class with Trent?
No, I didn't take my first yoga class with Trent, but the first yoga class that we took together was here.
Okay. So there you have it.
Yep.
All right.
He's like, I've got to get you in here. This space is incredible. And that's basically where he left it at. And I'm like, where are you bringing me up to this third floor of some random place? And
it's like a speakeasy. You don't know until you know. And then you open that door and there's like 4,000 square foot of yumminess back here. So
he knew exactly what he was doing though, because he led me right into your arms. There was no one better to lead me on my path of yoga.
Wow.
So.
Well, I see you. Same, but different. Yeah, we definitely have that same path with cheerleading and all sorts of dance and all sorts of fun things that we've done. So kudos to that work. And I think at that time, I had launched my 200-hour teacher training program here. And if you don't know, yoga studios pretty much survive on teacher training programs, right? Because the brick and mortar is, so the overhead is so costly at times that, you need that extra bit of revenue. And so I had launched Homeschool University, which is our internal teacher training program, which is a 200-hour program. And we had a different co-teacher here at the time, a different facilitator. That was class 1 of Homeschool U. And I knew I wanted to do like an internship program or something. Good vibes. I wore this hat today because I always see Savannah in like the good vibe tribe. So I knew I wanted to create good vibes around some sort of internship program because I was Jimmy's assistant for that flash 30-day training in Fort Lauderdale in 2011. So our teacher training program takes a little bit more time. And so I knew I wanted to kind of groom a couple interns. And so I put it out there and allowed people to apply. And there was dozens of applications. And Savannah just kept popping up in conversation in the studio with the Namaste Yoga Corporation board. So I definitely see Bam when I see you. So Bambassador material for sure. And then I interviewed her. And then when I interviewed her, I absolutely fell in love. And I don't want to get emotional or anything, which I'm sure we probably will together, which is cool. But if you're okay with discussing a little bit of like our conversation at that time, a little bit about like telling me about yourself and like why yoga was so passionate to you at the time. And I don't want to steal the words out of your mouth, but could you share to me, like if you were just interviewing with me again and I was to say, Savannah, what's going on in your world? Can you rewind back to that time in 2000 and I believe it's 2000, goodness, 2018. What was going on? Talk to me about what was happening and why I fell in love with you so much.
So gosh, this makes my heart race a little bit because there was so much going on in my personal life. And it's interesting because traditionally when you step into the yoga room, you wonder, is me sharing my own story going to take away from the people in the space, or is it going to add to the experience that they're having because they know you a little bit better beyond the glitz and the glamour and being in a
You're a real person.
Right, exactly. Right. I'm a real human. I have real emotions, real feelings, and
Absolutely.
a real family and all of that kind of stuff. So when I had first wanted to become a yoga teacher, it was for a number of reasons. And I think it was because I just knew that that was my next opportunity, opening, expansion to be a better version of myself. Stars aligned. But needless to say, during that time, I was still working through with my family. My whole family lives here, my sister and my brother and my parents. And so to make a very long story a little bit shorter, my brother actually used to be my sister. So I was one of 3 girls. And growing up, my brother was always like my brother. So I never knew it any other way. But it was during this time and a little bit beforehand that my my sister at that time, Megan, was going through his transition to become Matt. So he was going through a lot of surgical procedures that had a ton of complications and a lot that just weighed really heavy on me. And I just didn't know how to get this energy out of me. I was like, how do I understand what he's going through? And how do I share this experience that I have laterally felt through being in this family and through him with other people? And it just was like a light went off in my head that this space is welcoming. This kind of practice is for anyone, any human that literally just has a breath, a body, and a brain. And if I can bring something that is healing like this for me to myself and my family, I can't even imagine what this would do like tenfolds for other people. And there is so much judgment being in such a beautiful space, South Florida. So it was really nice that I could step out of that judgment space and step into a space where I no longer felt judged because of who I am or who my family is or who anyone is, and just walk in raw and authentic and no strings attached. So it was unique how it's a part of me, yet yoga is all about detachment and not attaching to all of these things that have brought you to where you are. So it's there's the crux of it all, right? It's like the silver lining. But
absolutely. I mean, you just brought me right back there. I'm like holding back the tears. I can hear your voice, a little crackle. And I think that that's just human and it's authentic and it's raw and real. And I really appreciate you sharing that story with us. As you know, in modern day, there's a lot of information out there where people can turn if they have any questions or if they need help, or we're going to drop Savannah's handles at the end of this podcast so that you can even reach out to her if you have any questions. But,
side note, you can be born this way.
Yeah, I mean,
I have known my whole life. Literally, I've known my whole life. So if anyone ever says, oh, well, it was this or that, no, you can absolutely be born this way. You are born exactly the human that you are. And however you become is, that's your story.
That's your story. And your message is so cool. So thank you for sharing that. That was just one of the many, many, many reasons why I fell in love with you. And I thought, especially for somebody of your age at that time, to share such an authentic story. You've had me in tears many times over the years, but that is very special. And I just adore your family. And I wish all of you guys the best where that's concerned. So fast forward. So she was selected to be the first intern, class 1. It took about almost a year. I mean, we spanned them out for about a year over time, and we offer different things. And you guys graduated in 2018, right? Was it, or 2019? I'm sorry.
19, because I taught my first class in 19.
Exactly. And my spinal fusion was in 2019 as well. I waited to actually graduate the very first class with good vibes. And then I went out and had my spinal fusion, and maybe we'll talk about that in a future podcast as well. So fast forward. So she graduated and she absolutely shined. We employed a couple of you and our waterfall, Miss Kimmy, your soul sister in training. So we employed both of you guys, and Kimmy's out teaching at Soul Yoga in Fort Lauderdale, and you teach there as well. And we love that studio, and we're super proud of both of you guys. So talk to me a little bit about teacher training, because our teacher training is coming up. Kelly's going to be the next guest, our director of teacher training, 17-year-old studio owner. That was our next facilitator. She actually took over the program. Fast forward. So talk to us about teacher training, and what did that do to you, especially since you were going through so much at that time? What was that experience like for you? And what could you share to people out there about a teacher training program?
It was healing. It was transformational. It was community building. It makes you feel like you are a part of a purpose that is bigger than you. And if you've ever felt like you wanted to do it, even just to progress your own personal practice or to understand more about yoga, you don't have to teach yoga to become a yoga teacher. But as soon as you learn all of the nooks and crannies, you want to be a yoga teacher anyways.
No, absolutely.
So it was just an experience beyond words. I mean, all of the words that I just used tenfold. And to share it with a group of, at that time, it was a group of just incredible women that were in so many different spaces, and all of us were going through just different things in our lives, as we all are, and we're always, growing and glowing and all of the good things. So it was just an incredible experience, and I really loved that you enabled us the time to really grasp the concepts and not just push everything down our throats. And we had, every week a different topic or a different thing that we were focusing on, and so much Sanskrit, so much, just so much of everything.
So much of everything. I know. It's so, like, people think it's just like this little certificate that you just get, and but it's definitely.
No. And what I just shared with someone last week, actually, that took my class that wanted to be a yoga teacher, she goes, well, I really liked that you used a lot of Sanskrit. And it was funny because it brought me back to you being like, look, if you don't know how to use a Sanskrit, then you aren't going to be able to teach anywhere besides here. And it's the universal language. It's the language that we can all share with each other, that if a student doesn't speak English, and especially in South Florida, we're in the melting pot of human beings. So if you can speak that
language, baby,
then anybody can take your class. And I really loved that. It just,
that was, instilled into me. I mean, right next door in our hot room, my yoga daddy's teaching a class right now. Jimmy Birkin's right next door, episode 2, you can catch that. So, he instilled all of that Sanskrit and stuff in us. And then obviously our teacher training program is a dual heated, unheated infusion. So you get to learn a little bit about the Barkin method lineage, as well as like the Sean Korn lineage, so heated and unheated lineages, and same but different, right? We just crank it up in the hot room. But yeah, so that's really great information. Thank you for sharing that. So I employed Savannah. She started teaching classes here, and probably started off maybe one class, and then it's grown over the years. And talk to me about that, like getting a class and teaching in mainstream yoga studio here in South Florida. Like, what does that feel like? I see this big smile on your face, and that just like makes me so excited to see that. So, like, what does that feel like for you to teach here at Yoga Home and just share with the kids? It's cool, right? It's such a cool experience.
Well, one, I'm really lucky because you gave me the opportunity to teach somewhere that people have worked years to be able to teach here. This is not any cookie cutter type of studio. We're very much unique and individual. We teach sequences that are not just appropriate for every type of body, but things that resonate with you individually. You don't just teach whatever that you're given from a training. So I really loved that. And from my first class, where I was so nervous to step on the mat, I literally had studied a note card for 6 hours probably before that, and I still walked in and did not even teach. We always
throw it out the door.
Right, exactly. all inhibitions off the So coming full circle, and now having, I think I'm about to have my Third? 4 because I teach Tuesday through Friday now.
That's right.
So I have 4 full-time classes, including 2 bar classes.
Yeah,
Shout out bar.
Oh my gosh, hOMe Bar Fitness right here in this room.
hOMe Bar Fitness.
Yeah,
I am telling you, it is hot. It is fun. It is everything that I needed to.
Paris Hilton I'm so obsessed with her. I've been stalking her so much lately. I love it. I'm going to bring that back. That's hot.
It is hot.
Plug for Paris.
So, yeah, I mean.
So that's super cool. And then, Yoga Fest, I invited you and Marcus to teach at Yoga Fest. And that's like kind of like when you teach at Yoga Fest in your career in South Florida, it's kind of like, it's a big deal. You're sharing space with a bunch of studio owners from Miami to Palm Beach, and it's just a lot of big names there, and it's really cool to be there. And so that was a really cool experience to see both you and Marcus teach together with your boo out there in the field, and it was just so cool to watch you grow. And talk to me a little bit about what you and Trent do on this side. Your other handle, you guys do a little bit of acro yoga together,
yes,
and a little bit of brand ambassadorship, and talk to me about like how all that came full circle, because he did not train here. I'm still trying to get him into our 300-hour training. Hopefully you guys will take it together. But
we will.
Yeah. So go.
Gosh.
Run
so
with it.
Yes, Stacro yoga. Stacro was created because S&T and then acro yoga. So stack yoga, we stack on top of each other. So there's the fun fact. We decided to do acro because we wanted a way to just, it's like yoga. It's the one thing you can do that's free that really makes you feel connected to someone, and it's fun to just move in a different way. So it included the acro side of what I've done my whole life with tumbling and dancing and whatnot, and then also the meditative side and the Tai Chi side, and combining just a bunch of different modalities into one thing. So acro became a space that we could grow another love language where, you know, you don't really need to say a word, but yet your bodies feel so much energy moving between each other. And that had just become pretty popular when we first started it. Some of our videos were getting like 10, 15,000 views when Instagram didn't make you, make an ad for everything. So we were like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Crazy. Because of that, we had a couple of opportunities. We were able to go to Universal Studios Volcano Bay and literally take a yoga class there. They brought us there for free, and literally Universal just started following us and asked us to go, and we just went. And from there, it was a couple of different brands that offered us just different opportunities to, take videos and have fun. And so we used it just as for fun.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
That's still really what it is.
You're both so still, not for nothing, I'm getting old, but you guys are both so still young, and you have the rest
My
of
last day of 28.
Exactly. I'm going to spank you 29 times tomorrow. But you guys still have so much. I try to think back where I was. I was running around in New York at 28 in an office in New York City at JetBlue, and blah, 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 it's just practicing yoga. I wasn't even a trained teacher yet. I got certified when I was 33. So if I would have had that knowledge like you and Trent did at such a young age, watch out, I mean, who knows where that would have taken us. So cool to all of that brand ambassadorship that you do and stuff. And so I love the aloe that you're wearing. I love the Lululemon that you're wearing. You always look super cute. You always give me such good vibes. So that's why this hat is going to stay on.
I love fashion.
Right
I
there.
can't help it.
No, you're adorable. Okay, so then you guys are doing your thing. Stackro Yoga was born, and you guys are promoting and you're teaching in the community. And then what happened like a couple months ago? You guys were planning a trip to go, but I knew before you did.
Corbin knew, and I'm so happy about that. I can't even tell you how happy that made me, because as not traditional of humans as we are, it meant everything to me to have Trent mention that to Corbin and ask/tell him that was going to happen, as well as my father and just other really important people in our lives.
So they were planning this trip, and
we had no idea. So we were going to California for 11 days, and gosh, the 11s now are popping up
oh my
everywhere.
Gosh, hey, did you know that? Or
no,
was that? Oh,
no, that literally, I just realized that.
11.
So we'll tell you about the 11s. But so we go on this trip for 11 days. We're going to California, Carpinteria. Some of his aunt and some of his family lives out there. So it was literally just meant to be a vacation from what I was told. And we're getting ready to go, and we get there. We're having a great time. Before we leave, though, Trent gives me this blooper. He's like, hey, we're going to do a photo shoot with my cousin Connor. He works for Blue Ox, and he's an incredible photographer, has done work for Nike and some other
You're
big
like, game
people.
on.
Right, exactly. So we're like, game on. And of course, me, dummy / nonchalant, not really realizing what was happening.
Can you flip your hair back really quick for me? Thanks. Give it for the camera.
There we go.
Thank you.
So I had no idea that was going to happen. And of course, I was like, okay, sure, sounds great. We're always taking pictures. I love to take pictures, and so does he. So we figure, okay, we get there. I'm getting ready for this photo shoot. So it's on Saturday. We got there on Thursday, and he's like, well, what are you going to wear? And he always asks me what I'm going to wear, because we're always kind of like tossing the fashion stuff back and forth. And I'm like, I don't know, either this. I'm like, well, are we doing yoga? No, we're not doing yoga anymore. So originally I was like, okay, well, no more yoga. Fine. Well, okay, I'm going to get some individual shots, and we'll do probably some little yoga stuff kind of in an inadvertent way. So I was just trying to decide between a black dress and this white outfit that I, with a like tan top. Anyways, you'll have to look at my Instagram for the pictures. That's the outfit I decided to wear. But side note, I was like, I really kind of want to wear this black dress. And Trent's like, I don't really think the black dress goes with the beach. So, right. I said, okay, well, let me wear this sand colored outfit or whatever. So we're getting ready to go. We show up at the beach, and it's at the Montecito. This is where, gosh, I'm not so much in network with the stars, but I think Chloe and Travis Barker. Yes, they're the couple, right? So that's where they got engaged. Wow. And so we show up there, and Connor was able to get us back through the bar and go down to the beach. So we're walking down the beach and it's just breathtaking. 30 minutes in, we're doing all of these amazing pictures. I loved it. We're having a great time. And any inkling that I potentially had was gone. It crossed my mind earlier in that day once. I'm like, maybe, but I'm like, nah, it probably won't because it's already been 30 minutes. We're walking down the beach. And then right at the end, Connor goes, turn around and go look at the mountainscape. So of course I just did my little hair flip. Okay, sounds great. Turn around, look at the mountains, walking down the beach. And then Trent goes, wait, hey, turn around for a second. And I turn around and he's down on one knee.
Oh my gosh.
And says, Savannah, will you marry me? And I was like,
oh
are you serious?
All right, fellas, take some notes out there.
It was perfect in every way.
My gosh.
Put it on my hand. We're taking more pictures. We walk back up to the area where his whole family was, and I didn't even know they were there.
Everybody was waiting there for you.
So they literally all hopped in
all of that
cars and ran down to
gosh.
visit us, and
that's so awesome.
It was perfect.
He told me here in the lobby, and I was like, "Did you ask her mom and dad?"
I'm so happy
really
you
did.
made sure
really
to.
did. I was like, "Did you ask her mom and dad?" You better go ask her dad.
But the best part was you were the first person I called the next day, and I called my mom that night, and she's like, I took 5-hour energies just to stay up, and she's not over exaggerating. She did. She's a little bit on the wild side in all the good ways.
Yay.
And Corbin was in the nail salon, and now everyone in the nail salon knows because
bawling. I was like, okay.
So here's my new bling bling.
I love it. And it's on the right hand.
It's on the right hand. Yeah. Side note, when we put it on, we were taking all of our pictures. We walk back up to the beach, and Trent's mom, Tracy, goes, oh, honey,
Girl.
it's on the wrong hand. And I'm like, shoot. So we go and flip it. And then, now you can look back at our pictures and see we had to flip the orientation, but all good.
That is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It just shows the authenticity behind it, and you were so excited.
The magic of the moment. We had no idea. We just knew it was
the right
happening.
Hand, not the left. Like, who cares?
Both,
right? That's right.
Yes.
If you like it, you better put a ring on it, right? Way to go, Trent. We'll talk about that with Big Homie when he comes on air. So that is super cool. Congratulations with all of that. So typical interview question, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Woo, 5 years.
Is that the most boring question ever? Where do you see yourself?
Gosh,
what's going on?
I see myself. I'll be here, baby. I'll definitely still be teaching my
class. Saying that. We did sign a 10-year lease, so we do have 5 more years. You better be here.
Thank goodness. So at that point, I'll hopefully be teaching for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
It wouldn't
super
be
close to it.
It'll be close. It'll be about 9.
9.
9's my favorite number.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I'll be teaching hopefully for that amount of years, and a lot more wise, a lot more brave, a lot more
and your puppy will
fierce.
Be 6 or 7,
Our puppy
right?
will be 6 or 7. We got a dog last year. We adopted him from the Delray police station.
Nice.
His name is Rico Suave, because he really tries to be smooth and hits on all the lady dogs at the dog park. But
where's he learning that from, Big Homie?
It couldn't be Trent. When you say dogs look like their owners, I swear to God, you look at Rico and Trent, and you're like, oh, that's definitely Trent's dog. Are you kidding?
We're gonna have to get the Pod Pro boys and flash a little picture of that up right there.
Yes.
Right there. Let's clock that. When did that come in? We'll put Trent and the dogs side by side.
Side by side.
A little poll. What do you guys think out there?
They're a match made in heaven. It was a match
adorable.
made in heaven. So 5 years from now, I see myself
still kicking butt,
a whole lot wiser, hopefully making I will be making a lot more
money.
There
you go, that affirmation.
Already doing fabulous, but I think the sky is the limit for us. Yeah. And I hope that just my journey as a teacher will continue to grow, potentially, hosting yoga retreats, maybe some partner type stuff happening. I try not to, you set goals, and short-term, both long-term, but I want to travel. I want to see the world, and I just want to experience life for all that it has to offer, and just not get so caught up in the mundane day-to-day, and keep things at a large scope. And
amen. Well, what if your yoga daddy asked you to maybe be a teacher at a retreat in Thailand?
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Would you go to Thailand with me in 2023? I've got a retainer at Vicasa in Koh Samui. Yeah, they've had it since, good gosh, forever. Because I had my fusion and then pandemic, and Not that I want the money back, but I want to go back.
No, we want to go.
We want to go there.
I
That
want to
place
go.
is gorgeous. Such a big plug for them. It's the biggest retreat center in the world, Vikasa Yoga. Check it out on Instagram. Costa's the owner there. He's brilliant. He's beautiful. The whole place is amazing. So yeah, we're definitely going to go back. So would you say yes if your yoga daddy asked you to be like an assistant?
Yes.
Retreat
Triple
all the way
time.
around
Yes,
the world and get all of your
course.
fans out there to meet us over there. All right, you guys heard it here first. So Savannah, we're going to wrap it up now, but tell everybody all of your handles. Where can they find you? Your Stack Row Yoga, obviously we said that at the beginning, but say them all, and you can even plug Trent as well if you'd like.
Totally, yes. So all of my handles, Savannah Bananas. So Savannah Banana, of course, right when Instagram started, that one was taken pretty fast. So Savannah Bananas, but instead of an A at the end, it's a Z, like
so
zebra.
spell it out for them.
SAVANNAHBANANZ. And
that shit's bananas.
I love that song. It never gets old.
Never.
And Stackro Yoga, STACRO Yoga. And Trent P123.
Trent
This is pretty,
P123. Yeah, sweet.
OG original. So
well, I can't tell you how much fun I have had. You are a ball of energy. You are such bright white light. You're such a light worker and a fairy, and I love everything that you stand for. And
ditto.
Keep going out there and keep sharing the love. My name is Corbin Stacy, and we appreciate you being with us today. Follow us on Instagram at cOMe. Oh, true.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. No, say it to let the kids know.
Hot Yoga Home.
At Hot Yoga Home. Also, come home with Corbin Stacy and Corbin Stacy Yoga. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next month.
Bye.
Bye.